This player is going to go down as one of the bigger what ifs in recent Miami Hurricanes history. But TreVonte Citizen is entering the transfer portal.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, longtime South Florida sports radio vet, and also host of Locked On ACC. And thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. We're free wherever you get your podcasts, free on YouTube and part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Miami Hurricanes running back TreVonte Citizen is leaving Coral Gables, and he's taking 4 years of eligibility with him. And the reason why, folks, I refer to Citizen as one of the greater what ifs in recent Miami Hurricanes history. The what if is, what if he hadn't blown out his knee in his first fall camp as a Hurricane? When Citizen arrived at Miami in the class of 2022, this was actually a rabbit that Mario Cristobal pulled out of his hat on National Signing Day. This is one most fans didn't expect to pick Miami, and he did, out of Lake Charles, Louisiana. A consensus 4-star recruit. That was the ranking he had at every major recruiting service. Standing about 6'1", little over 220 pounds. And guys, I remember when I was watching and I got a chance to interview Citizen in media day, watch him in practice, his first fall camp as a Miami Hurricane before the serious injury, derailed the start of his collegiate career. TreVonte Citizen, the first thing that I said about that young man was, even at 18 years old, looked like an NFL running back. And that was what he displayed on the field when he was in high school in Louisiana. Great speed, but also excellent power, instinctive inside runner. And unfortunately, during his first fall camp, and it was late in fall camp from what I recall, 2 years ago as a Miami Hurricane, suffered a badly torn ACL that cost him his first full season at Miami. And I think after that full season that he missed, suffered some sort of a setback, which also cost him his second year at the University of Miami. And with Citizen, physically, he had worked his way back to a clean bill of health. Heading into spring football this year, Citizen, he still wears a big brace on his formerly surgically repaired knee, had given a clean bill of health. I think he's really still been working his way back. I'm sure there are certain physical elements that take a little while to come back after missing that much time, and probably a lot of mental elements as well. So, he still was working through some things, Citizen, but, at times he had flashed it. I mean, about 2 weeks ago, Mario Cristobal talked about, I think it was during the third or fourth week of spring practice, that something really clicked with Citizen, and he was starting to maybe return to his old self. And again, there's probably as many, if not more, mental hurdles you have to clear than physical hurdles after missing 2 full seasons. When it came down to Miami's actual spring game this past weekend, where Citizen got limited work, he, in addition to having the brace on his knee, was also had something with his hand, some kind of an injury that had him wearing a club, but it wasn't serious enough to keep him out of the game. So he's trending towards full health, and he has decided to step away from the program. And guys, this is obviously, you can't assess what he's done at Miami because he hasn't played a single snap in a game at this point. But those who have followed Citizen and those who followed his recruitment know the potential is through the roof on this young man. And you look at Miami's running back room, right? We were talking earlier, and by the way, if you missed our previous episode, Ja'Carri Brown is transferring. One of Miami's quarterbacks has hit the portal. And I still think the best is yet to come for Ja'Carri when it comes to his development. Obviously, that's the case with TreVonte Citizen. The best is yet to come here. And if you look at Miami's running back room, now at some point when he's healthy again, Mark Fletcher is that dude. I don't know exactly what his timetable is going to be coming off the foot injury, if he's going to be ready to go for August 31st against Florida or not. We also know Miami is definitely looking to add a marquee running back in the transfer portal, someone with featured back and starting experience. A name like Damian Martinez of Oregon State, who's in the portal, has been thrown around a lot. Miami is looking to add that sort of a running back. The Hurricanes have already lost another running back in this cycle, Henry Parrish, who was actually Miami's leading rusher these last couple of years. Now, later in the season last year, Fletcher, as a true freshman, ascended and he passed Parrish on the depth chart, but Parrish was still Miami's leading rusher last year. Same thing the year prior, was the Hurricanes' most consistent back in 2022. He is out of Miami seeking other opportunities, and TreVonte Citizen is now as well. But like we always say, folks, and I mean this with the bottom of my heart, because you could probably tell how much I like this player the way that I talk about him on the show. I hope Citizen can find a place that will continue to, give him the injury rehab that he needs, and a place where he can carve out playing time quickly and go out there and shine. Because you better believe someone who hasn't taken in-game snaps since his senior high school season must be chomping at the bit to get on the field wherever TreVonte Citizen ends up. So we wish you all the best, TreVonte. And so, you think about who's left in Miami's running back room. There are still some quality players there, of course. Fletcher, once he comes off of injury. A.J. Allen, who had a nice year last season after transferring in from Nebraska. He's had a minor injury that's caused him to miss spring football. He's going to be back by fall camp. Chris Johnson Jr. was getting most of the featured reps in practice. Chris Wheatley-Humphrey in as a true freshman. You've got the wild card of all wild cards, because Miami's true freshman tight end, Elijah Lofton, has been getting significant running back reps in practice and looks pretty good there. Miami's going to be adding Jordan Lyle this summer, is going to be enrolling, who was a 4-star out of St. Thomas Aquinas. Not sure if I mentioned the Hellcat already, Chris Wheatley-Humphrey, who actually showed me some good stuff throughout spring and the spring game. But with all that said, I still do believe the Hurricanes are going to try to dip into the portal and bring in a featured back type. So we'll see what the future holds for TreVonte Citizen. But for whatever team he lands in, we know that team is getting someone who's got very, very high upside if he can return to that full fitness and mental form that he was in prior to his knee injury at Miami. So thank you guys so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. Make sure to smash that thumbs up button, smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever audio platform you use. And we'll talk to you again next time on another episode of Locked On Canes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.